Access Matters, the Access Alliance, campaign update December 2020.
Ngā mihi kia koutou katoa. Welcome everybody to this Zoom this evening with our to talk about the Access Alliance and where we're at with the work we're doing, and also talk about the campaign. So I'm just going to open our meeting this evening, or our hui, with just a opening kariki. Kia inoi tātou, kia hora te marino, kia whakapapapau na me te moana. Hei huarahi mā tātou I te pōnei. Aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou I a tātou, katoa hui e tai ki e. May peace be widespread, may the sea be like greenstone, a pathway for us all this evening. Let us show respect for each other, for one another, bind us all together. Kia ora. So, Diane, welcome.
Kia ora. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you, Chrissy, for the welcome. It's a joy to be here with our campaigners, advocates across the country, supporters and business champions. So my name's Diane Rogers. I am
thought so.
work for Blind Low Vision NZ, and I'm also have the privilege of being the Access Alliance coordinator.
Kia ora everybody, my name is Taryn Banks and I have the privilege to be the campaign's community and content manager for the Access Alliance and the Access Matters campaign. Many of you have probably received emails from me, I hope not too many, and I look forward to talking to you tonight about a little later about what you guys can do in your communities with your whānau and your networks to support the campaign.
And I'll just give a little bit of background about myself. Ko Chrissy Cowan toku ingoa. My name is Chrissy Cowan, and I'm the CEO of the only Indigenous disabled-led national group in Aotearoa called Kapo Māori Aotearoa. And I have had the privilege of being the chair of the Alliance since 2018. There's exciting things happening since we launched this way back in 2017, as many of you are aware. And one of the most, like I always emphasize when I'm meeting with different people, is the fact that our grassroots people, our campaigners, our supporters are key to helping progress this work. What I'm going to do now is just give you a bit of a background around what's been happening of late. The pace that we've been working at, many people might go, oh, it's quite slow, but in fact, it's moved really quickly. And one of the big things that Minister Sepuloni, who's the Minister for Disability, has been very, very supportive of what we're doing, and has worked very closely with us and her officials to progress the work. So part of what she did, of course, in 2018 was announce that we were going to look at a work program. From that work program came out the cabinet paper that she presented that recommended that Cabinet approve the continuation of the work on accelerating accessibility. Okay, that meaning it's a new legislative framework. So from June of this year, we, Diane and others and members from our founding organisations have been working with the Ministry of Social Development Policy team, looking at that framework and working it through. Some of the things, one thing in particular that we all acknowledge is that we can't do everything all at once. So the whole framework will be rolled out over time. And I love this word, progressive realization. So when, it's not about us having to do everything at once, but the area, of course, we're focusing around is accessibility in respect of the disability community. It's also what government has realised and recognises is the importance of education and training for all organisations. What's also unique is that we're working in partnership with MSD and officials, and that's very unusual because historically they would do all the writing and people wouldn't have any opportunity to give their feedback or be included. That's very different now. And we actually, what we call share the pen. So whatever goes up, we have active involvement in the writing of it, which is very, very unusual, but it's great. The focus, of course, what we're looking at now is that we're working towards writing another paper for Cabinet, which will go to Cabinet in May, and this will be the final proposal to accelerate accessibility in May 2021. That final proposal will be on removing barriers for Māori disabled people and other people with access needs. So the proposal where we're looking at includes to develop and implement standards within key areas of life. So yeah, so we need those standards to ensure we have that clear guidance on what our organisations need to do to be accessible. This legislative framework is working towards where the standards have got, are mandatory and are enforceable. And what we're also doing to ensure stakeholder involvement is like talk with business, and business can look at the standards themselves and provide feedback. So it's not about us designing it all and just putting it out there, but we're really needing the help of all people that will be affected by this. So our timeline is, May 2021 is when Minister Sepuloni will meet with her cabinet. And I met with Minister last week. And one of the things she did say to me is timelines, that time frames is for them, a major area of, that we all have to monitor. There's things that we can't plan around that could throw our time frame. So time frames is an area, and it's tight because what we're trying to do is quite huge. So there's a lot of backroom work to be done. The minister, of course, intends to propose that the bill be introduced in the House in 2021. So that means that once it's introduced, of course, then we start that process of select committees and people being able to write submissions around the framework. And what we picked up through our consultations and going around the country and talking to groups is that it's more about understanding what we mean when we talk accessibility. Yeah. And what the approach we've taken, because of course the Alliance now has become a movement, is looking at your life. So it's like for mums that have got twins or triplets who have access issues as well, and going right through your life. So understanding what accessibility, what we mean by access and accessibility is a big education curve for a lot of people. Everybody's going, it's the right thing to do, but how do we do it? And again, working with our campaigners, that's how we're able to get the word out. So we've been, the Alliance has been talking a lot with the business leaders. They're happy to write information and circulate it through their business networks. We've also been talking to people in the education area around working with them and improving access to schools, etc., and developing that. And we're very committed to ensuring everyone has the opportunity to have their say. Getting that message out is really crucial for us so that we can get people engaged in the conversation. Our disability community is very much involved, and also get talking to representative groups like Māori, seniors, carers. I talked about mums with multiple children, births. We have quite a huge cross section of the community. The communities where English is their second language, etc. The expectation is we need to keep engaging with everyone out in our communities along the way, so that we can test our work and our understanding. Diane, do you want to fill in anything there around the technical aspects?
I think you've covered it off really well, Chrissy. I think the opportunities that we've been working in a very collaborative way with the minister's officials over the last 5 months. There's still a lot of work to do, because minister needs there'll be this decision paper that will be and we're all hoping for the decision to be, let's get on with it. We know we've got a lot of support. I mean, the other thing that happened, of course, we had the COVID, which kind of slowed down even the last paper that minister took. It was delayed. We also know that the election, what was really wonderful in the election, you've probably seen some of our emails that Taran sent out. We had all of the parties that contested the election committed to support the introduction of accessibility legislation. And so the opportunity right now and the challenge is to figure out how do you bring that into practice? What's needed in the design of this new framework? We've also been pleased to work with some independent legal researchers who produced a paper. It's about 130 pages worth. And these guys put together a paper on what an effective design for accessibility legislation framework should be for Aotearoa New Zealand. We're looking forward to their paper being released soon, and obviously we'll keep you apprised of that. And they're presenting a model of what this could be, because ultimately new legislation, when it comes and when it's passed, will then create a new system, and we want this system to be future-proofed, but we want it to be able to deliver the change, the level of change that everybody's been asking for decades. So that's really it. I think we are still working closely with MSD. In the new year, hopefully there'll be more progress, and then we're looking forward to working with MSD on the next phase, which we think will involve engagement with the various stakeholders on the proposal. I suppose that's really it, the proposed framework, and then to get feedback that will feed into the next paper that Minister takes to Cabinet, the decision paper. So that's really it, Chrissy. That's from me. I hope that covers a little bit more.
Right.
Our big area, though, is to keep on engaging with you, through your networks, with representative groups from all of the different groups, especially Māori, seniors and carers, and most importantly, disabled people and their whānau.
Cool.
And our expectation is that as soon as we can start engaging and sharing the thinking early, all the better, because it's really you that need to test and talk about it and see whether it's what you're expecting and hoping for. That's really going to be the test, whether it will work for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Diane. The first question we have, and this is from Vivian in the Hawke's Bay. Am I right? But no, Vivian's not in the Hawke's Bay. Vivian's here in Auckland. Vivian Naylor, are there representatives from government departments other than MSD? Yes, we have been working with the seniors, Office for Seniors, also with Ministry of Education. We've had discussions with representatives from housing. Over time, we've quite a few we've engaged with, but that will intensify because Ministry of Social Development will be leading the consults with their colleagues across government.
There are representatives from a range of government agencies, I know, working with MSD, but MSD is the lead agency working across government. And I believe that they've been engaging with other agencies, and you think about all the key agencies, transport and housing, as Chrissy talked about, education, health, etc. That's their job to do that, and we believe this work is already being started as we speak.
Access to the paper, is it available for public to read?
So the paper that Minister took to Cabinet in June has been made public. It's on the Ministry of Social Development website. And I can ask Jelena if you're around. I think Jelena's online now, Chrissy.
Yeah.
We can put up the link to the paper, but we can also send you the link after this as well. So it's in various formats. So this is the full Cabinet paper that Minister took to Cabinet to seek to do further work on this work program, and that hopefully will lead to a Cabinet decision in May. So that's available in all the different formats. And I would strongly urge you to have a good read of that. It's quite inspiring to read, because it really is intent on a new system, a new way of dealing with removing barriers and creating a fairer, more accessible Aotearoa New Zealand. So have a look at that.
I see that Vivian's asked about what about MB? Absolutely. We've started initial discussions with them, as well as tourism. We've got an opportunity to contribute to the conversation. There is a tourism task force that is, of course, they've been working quite furiously because their industry was impacted quite severely with COVID. Vicky Terrell, it would be good to engage with the Human Rights Commission and Paula, the Disability Commissioner. Absolutely. I was actually with Paula last week and had a quick chat with her around what's happening and the work that she individually, as well as with the independent monitoring mechanism of the United Nations Convention for the Rights of Disabled Peoples have been working on as well. So she absolutely is there, and she keeps tabs on us, and when we do releases, she's involved in supporting us there. What could New Zealand look like in 10 years after the legislation is passed? A paper, and I think a lot of you would have already seen it, was a paper that the Access Alliance Steering Group, which is made up of different organisations from the disability community, wrote around the vision. What was the vision of an accessible and inclusive Aotearoa New Zealand? I think that's available on our website, and it's a beautiful piece of collective work of the vision of our communities. So yeah, what we're looking at, it's more inclusive. It shifts that attitudes. People won't be battling one barrier at a time. We're hoping it breaks down this mentality of siloing people, and through the act, of course, is full force and make it easier for all communities to be able to engage. Diane, one here for you. What are you most proud of so far in the work program?
I think it's the way in which the officials from the Ministry of Social Development are working truly in partnership with the Access Alliance. Being a former official in another life, working in the policy field in Wellington, I can honestly say it's quite extraordinary. The Minister has been exceptionally clear that she wants the Access Alliance and the Ministry to be very strong partners. Obviously, we've got different roles. We are not the government, MSD represent the government, but the way in which this is working, the sort of in these early stages around discussing, sharing ideas, we feel like we're equals. We feel very much that our advice and input is being taken on board, which is just fantastic. We get answers to our questions. So, that's, I suppose, Chrissy, that's one of the things I'm very proud of. But can I also say I'm very proud of you, the people here in this Zoom tonight, our campaigners, our organisational supporters, our business champions, because without you, we wouldn't have this movement. And, every step, every action that you've taken up till now has been fantastic. And just want to thank you all for volunteering your time, for supporting this cause. It's together we will achieve a fully accessible Aotearoa New Zealand. It is going to take time, but we are well and truly on the road now. But it is due to your efforts. So just want a big shout out to you all. Thank you. Nothing like this is achieved. It takes, many, many people, many actions and perseverance. So thank you.
Thank you. From the get-go, right from when we first started it, what impressed Minister Sepuloni and her cabinet ministers and MPs was, the collective approach of writing, visiting, and presenting our our paper with all the signatures. What we started with, of course, was a group of 10 organizations, and very committed people giving up their time and that hard work way back in 2017 has now created a movement of over 7,000 organizations and people, all wanting Aotearoa to be accessible for all people can. So again, we've talked a little bit around the area of life that we're looking at and the size of it. So, starting from educating and talking with, and there's a lot of members present here who have talked to around the housing and universal design. That's huge now, especially with the building, what's happening and the retrofits. Then we have, of course, what came out through COVID was, the importance of the digital and community. And, we have a group of very committed people that are helping to work with us and government to develop a digitally inclusive Aotearoa as well. Again, many organizations didn't realize till COVID that their websites, for example, couldn't be accessed by many people in their community, not just people that have a disability, but also seniors. So that digital area is very prominent, and also being able to contact people wherever you live in Aotearoa. Yeah. As you know, in February this year, it seems so long ago that we had the inaugural People Choice Awards out at South Auckland. And we were absolutely humbled to see the response that we received. What was amazing is that the groups and individuals that won came throughout the country. Well, so we've got this happening again. We're looking at, here we go. Again, when we talk about the areas of life and that, we're looking at digital, built environment, social inclusion, education, employment, leisure, goods, services, tourism, and hospitality. This next year, the awards will be held in June 2021. We haven't got a specific date yet. It will be a 90-minute hybrid live virtual event, and it will showcasing our nominees and winners and the accessible innovations they have implemented. It's going to be in a lively multimedia presentation. I'm quite interested in this myself. The audience and presentation will include people with lived experience of access needs, as well as their whānau, supporters and allies. Invitations will be issued to VIPs such as the Minister for Disability Issues, the Human Rights Commissioner, the Human Rights Disability Commissioner, of course, as well, and many, many others. The event will culminate in a real-time online voting for the Supreme Access Alliance People Choice Awards Accessibility Award for Business. So, we've got hot off the press here. I'm delighted to announce that the Cookie Time Charitable Trust, also a business champion for accessibility legislation, has come on board as the principal sponsor for the awards. I believe that Guy Pope Mayo, Managing Director at Cookie Time Limited, is online with us today. Ngā mihi ki a koe, Guy, and thank you again for your generous donation. Okay, who are the people with disabilities working directly with the MSD officials? There, and it's Juliana that's asked that question, Juliana. We have people from from Cerebral Palsy Society, we have members from CCS, we have members from what we call the DPO Coalition, Deaf Aotearoa representatives from the blind sector. Who else? People First, people with learning impairments, and of course we have many supporters that we call on as well if we need. So as the work's progressed, of course the workload's progressed, and so we search. We having our colleagues from the disability community working with us is important, and that's at every level.
So I just want to also signal that Blind Low Vision NZ and Kapa Māori Aotearoa key organisations, many hours every week are put into this kaupapa over and above. So I just want to acknowledge our chair, Chrissy, who's, a lot of this work just isn't done in the week, it's done whenever the need is. A lot of the time it's been looking at materials and providing feedback. But what's really good is there's been this pairing of members of the Access Alliance steering group, those who are waiting to have a disability, can I say, and those already with a disability, looking at the work and always looking at it through the lens of people who have to face barriers every day, because every day it's just another life of barriers at the moment. So it's very real, and I can say that we've received a great, there's a lot of sort of support and acknowledgement from officials to hear true stories about the challenges. There's a question I think here from Janet about changing places. At this point, we're not dealing with the individual kind of issues. It's more at looking at a structure, like what sort of a structure do we need in law to deal with this problem? And I suppose this is where the works come in that we've been working. We had a chance to comment on, as I said, the independent legal researchers, who's a group called Warren Forster and Associates. They were funded by the Law Foundation to do a piece of work that looks at what could a legislative design look like? What are the elements of this new system that we need to create new standards? How do you make sure that all the affected parties, importantly disabled people, are at the table in designing new standards? And then what's needed to regulate the legislation? So that sort of level of thinking is really where we've been at the moment. What do we want in terms of enforcement and compliance? And so it's not been so much at the individual access needs at the moment. It's been more, as Chrissy said, these areas of life or the domains such as transport, housing at a very high level. But it's looking at, so what do you need in this system to make sure these standards, if we've already got guidelines and standards, this is a future system, and as you know, none of this decision's been made yet, but this is the work. You've got to think about the key elements and how it all interacts together to basically stop barriers going in the first place.
What's exciting around this is that what we're wanting is that if it affects a particular area, community, they must be part of that conversation. So out there, because it's our people in those communities that are the ones that they have to live with what we're wanting to achieve. So yeah.
For this kaupapa, we are focused on the goal of having accessibility legislation. So we just solely focused on that. I just also wanted to answer Vicky's question about what about neurodiversity, and I'm really pleased that Dyslexia Foundation of New Zealand has joined. Fantastic. We've always had neurodiversity in our group right from the get-go. We have a number of pan-disability organisations in the original group, so it's always been an important community and a growing community. We're always open to more support from other organisations that are yet to get involved in this kaupapa. But neurodiversity is a really important sector and is definitely at the heart of this work. So these standards, once they do become, they have to be standards for everyone with access needs, and importantly for those with invisible disabilities. And so that's our challenge, that's our opportunity. But as I said, we're really just at a very high level. Like, what could this new statute, what does it need to cover? What's got to be in this new system at that level? But it's very exciting. Thank you for support, Vicky.
Kapo. Thanks, Diane. And yeah, and you know, it's really exciting, but it's also, as we're very conscious of, is keeping our communities within the Access Alliance, like yourselves, up to date as best we can, is that we will be doing consultations in different ways in the new year. We're working with business to get surveys out, you know, and what I really love is that ability for each community to write it in the language they speak. So this will come hard and fast, and you guys will be informed. Now, I'm very aware that Taryn is now going to start talking a little bit around how more directly supporters and allies can be involved in this work. Taryn.
Thank you, Chrissy. Kia ora, everybody, again. I hope you've enjoyed hearing what's been happening with MSD. It's very exciting that we're in this wonderful position, and I just want to echo what Diane and Chrissy have said. There will be a lot of opportunity for your voices to be part of that consultation process. And we don't have all the information about that yet, but we will be letting you know as soon as we do. And we hope that as many of you as possible will take the opportunity to help mould and shape this wonderful legislation that will change the lives of a lot of New Zealanders. In the meantime, there's still stuff that we can do to support the work that is happening at that top level in our grassroots advocates group. As Diane said, it takes that people power to create that momentum that changes attitudes and shifts minds and hearts. And we need all of you out there doing that. As Chrissy mentioned before, we are launching the People's Choice Awards, which recognises businesses who are trailblazers and leading the way in providing accessibility. And this is part of the conversation that we are having with the business community to make sure that they understand that providing accessibility is an opportunity for them. So please, over the summer months, when you're out and about, if you're seeing good examples of accessibility, please nominate those businesses, showcase those businesses that are leading the way so that other businesses follow suit. And we are the engine, us grassroots advocates, we are the engine room that is powering this campaign. So tell your friends, tell your whānau, the places you shop, the places you work, the places you socialize, the places, tell them when they're doing it well, tell them when they're not doing it well. Tell us your stories about the barriers you face and let us amplify those through our social media because it's powerful and it changes minds and changes hearts. If you're involved in a group or you know, be it a church or a community group or whānau or whatever, and you think that the people in your group might also be interested, let us know. We're really happy to come out to other groups in the community and spread the message. We did that recently with one of the universities in Auckland. We talked to their sustainability and wellbeing team, and that was really powerful. And I've seen some of those people have come on board as campaigners. So, you know, if you think of those kind of outside the box opportunities, let us know. We are available for weddings and 20 and any celebration, we'll rock up. And if you want to do something really powerful, visit your MP. Exactly the same time that the 53rd Parliament was being opened in Wellington, I had the great pleasure of accompanying one of our advocates, Prakashini Prakash, to go and visit Jacinda Ardern's office, electoral office staff. And, you know, we posted that on social media. That has gone completely viral and got over 7,000 hits. So that is the power that type of advocacy grassroots advocacy has. So, and if you want to have a go at doing that, we've got resources on the website, we've got template letters, we can give you one-on-one coaching. If we're in Auckland or we've got another advocate in your area, they can accompany with you. And I've got to say, I've had the privilege now of accompanying quite a few of our advocates on those visits, and they are very empowering experiences every time. So I would really urge you to do that. Another thing we'd like to do is we'd like to start a little video montage of your comments about why you want this now. Because one of our challenges in a very busy climate with COVID and all sorts of things going on and Brexit and whatever is keeping our message in the news and making sure that we don't get sidelined by whatever else is going on in a noisy world. So if you would like to, anyone would like to send me a little video of themselves just with their phone. It doesn't need to be, we don't need, Hollywood producers on this. You and your phone will do just fine. Send me a little video that says why you want access now. If you're a sign language user, that's fine. Do a montage in NZSL. I'll voice it for you. We'll caption them. We'll make sure that they're accessible. And we'll just make sure that the whole of New Zealand knows that we want access law now.
Lovely. Thank you, Taryn. Well, whānau, we're getting very much close to, we got 3 minutes left before our time together this evening concludes. Just one thing I want to add on to that list, that amazing list that Taryn's shared with us tonight, is I also, we have regular meetings with Minister Sepuloni, and we're just waiting to confirm if we're going to get an extra meeting next year, and something that we are, the steering group's very committed to, and myself in particular, is that of asking people from our communities to attend those meetings with us, because Minister wants to know what's happening. Minister Sepuloni, she wants to know what's happening and what it's really like out, in the communities, and how's it going. So if you get a text or an email or a phone call from Diane asking you whether you would come attend an alliance meeting with the minister with myself, please consider it. We don't know what it's like for many of our community. And the best ones is for you to have that opportunity to contribute and talk straight to the minister. Moving on, I'd like to just say thank you to first of all, like Diane, Taryn, Yelena, and our team. I'd like to acknowledge the Cookie Time Charitable Trust for their generosity to help us again present an awards that recognises the community, to acknowledge those of you that are online tonight, our grassroots supporters, campaigners, I love that term, our grassroots campaigners and our supporters and our business champions, and also our Access Alliance member organisations. Without you guys, we wouldn't have got where we are. And before I close our evening with a karakia whakamutunga, which again I will read in Te Reo Māori and English, I just would like to say to everyone online tonight, ngā mihi o te kirihiri me te tauhau ki koutou katoa. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, everybody. Au inoi tātou, kia tau mai te rongo mau, ki runga I tēnā o tātou, kia horahia te tika te puno, te maramatanga, me te aroha ano o te tahi ki te tahi, tūturu whakamaua kia tina, hui tai ki e. Bestow peace upon each other and every one of us. Lay before us righteousness, truth, wisdom, and compassion for one another. Bind together, fix and affirm. It is affirmed, bound together in unity. Ngā mihi ki a koutou, pai Māori. Bye-bye, kia ora, ngā mihi.
Access Matters, the Access Alliance, Campaign Update, December 2020.